Hey there, fellow gardeners. Welcome back to Roothaven Grounds. Today I'm sharing something that absolutely blew my mind when I first tried it, and I genuinely wish someone had told me about this years ago. Growing pineapples on your terrace isn't just possible, it's surprisingly easy, incredibly rewarding, and honestly one of the most satisfying gardening projects you'll ever tackle. I know what you're thinking. Pineapples? On my terrace? Isn't that impossible? Trust me, I had the same doubts. But after successfully growing my first homegrown pineapple, I'm here to tell you that this tropical treasure is more accessible than you ever imagined. Before we dive into the how, let's talk about why pineapples are actually ideal terrace plants. Unlike their tropical reputation suggests, pineapples are remarkably adaptable. They're drought-tolerant, don't require massive amounts of space, and they thrive in containers. The real game changer, they're part of the bromeliad family, which means they're built to handle less than perfect conditions. Your terrace provides exactly what pineapples crave: plenty of sunlight, good drainage, and protection from excessive moisture. Plus, watching a pineapple develop on your own plant is genuinely one of the coolest experiences in gardening. It's like having your own tropical paradise right outside your door. Here's where things get exciting and ridiculously simple. You don't need to order special seeds or hunt down rare plants at expensive nurseries. Your next pineapple plant is literally sitting in your kitchen or at your local grocery store. The crown method is how I started, and it's how most successful terrace pineapple growers begin their journey. When you're at the store, choose a pineapple with a healthy green crown. Avoid any with brown or wilted leaves. The fruit should smell sweet at the base, which indicates ripeness and a healthy plant. Once you get home, twist off the crown with a firm grip or cut it off with a knife, removing any excess fruit flesh to prevent rotting. Here's the trick that nobody tells you: peel away the bottom few rows of leaves to expose about an inch of the stem. This is where your roots will emerge, and exposing this area dramatically improves your success rate. Now, let that crown dry for about 2 to 3 days. I know it seems counterintuitive, but this drying period allows the cut to callus over, preventing rot when you eventually plant it. During this time, keep it in a dry, shaded spot. After the drying period, you can either place the crown in water to encourage root development or plant it directly in soil. I've had success with both methods, but water rooting lets you actually watch those roots develop, which is incredibly satisfying for us plant nerds. Pineapples aren't fussy, but they do have preferences. The soil mix you choose will make or break your success, and honestly, this is where a lot of beginners stumble. Pineapples absolutely demand excellent drainage. They're really susceptible to root rot if they sit in waterlogged soil. So, I create a mix using equal parts potting soil, perlite, and coarse sand. Some gardeners swear by adding a bit of orchid bark for extra drainage, and I've found this works beautifully. The key is creating something loose and airy that water moves through quickly. Container selection matters more than you might think. Choose a pot that's at least 12 inches in diameter with multiple drainage holes. Terracotta works wonderfully because it's porous and helps prevent overwatering, but heavy-duty plastic containers work too if they have adequate drainage. Remember, pineapple plants develop a relatively shallow but spreading root system, so width matters more than depth. Your terrace location is crucial. Pineapples need full sun. We're talking 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily for optimal growth. South-facing terraces are ideal in the northern hemisphere, while north-facing works if you're in the southern hemisphere. If your terrace gets partial shade during the day, your plant will still grow, but fruit production might take longer. I've noticed that consistent sunlight exposure directly correlates with sweeter fruit and faster development. This is where pineapples really shine as terrace plants, and honestly, it's where I fell in love with growing them. The watering schedule is gloriously forgiving. During the growing season, I water thoroughly about once a week, allowing the soil to dry out almost completely between waterings. The plant's thick leaves store water, making them naturally drought-resistant. In winter or cooler months, I cut back to watering every 2 weeks, or even less. Overwatering is honestly the biggest mistake I see beginners make. When in doubt, wait another day. Feeding your pineapple doesn't need to be complicated. I use a balanced, water-soluble fertilizer diluted to half strength every 4 to 6 weeks during the growing season. Some gardeners prefer organic options like diluted fish emulsion or compost tea, which work beautifully. The key is consistency without overdoing it. Too much nitrogen will give you lush foliage, but delay fruiting, so balance is essential. Here's something fascinating that most guides don't mention. Pineapples are cam plants, meaning they absorb carbon dioxide at night and close their stomata during the day to conserve water. This makes them incredibly efficient in hot terrace conditions where other plants might struggle. You can also foliar feed by misting the leaves with diluted fertilizer. The plant absorbs nutrients directly through its foliage, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. Let's be honest about timing because managing expectations is important. From planting your crown to harvesting fruit, you're looking at 18 to 24 months on average. I know that sounds like forever, but trust me, the journey is part of the joy. In the first 3 to 6 months, you'll see steady leaf growth as the plant establishes its root system. The leaves will gradually increase in size and number, forming that classic rosette shape. Around the 12 to 18-month mark, if conditions are right, you'll notice something magical. The beginning of fruit formation. A flower spike emerges from the center, producing those stunning purple flowers that eventually transform into your pineapple. The entire fruiting process from flower to harvest takes about 6 months. You'll watch the fruit gradually grow and change color from green to golden yellow, which signals ripeness. Temperature plays a role in fruiting that's worth understanding. Pineapples need some temperature fluctuation to trigger flowering. If you're in a consistently warm climate, don't be surprised if fruiting takes a bit longer. Some growers actually use ethylene gas exposure to trigger flowering earlier. You can do this naturally by placing a ripe apple in a bag with your plant for a few days. The ethylene from the apple tricks the pineapple into thinking it's time to fruit. Growing on a terrace presents unique situations, and being prepared helps. Strong winds can damage those broad leaves, so if your terrace is particularly exposed, consider placing your pineapple near a wall or using a windbreak. The plants are surprisingly sturdy, but protecting them from constant buffeting helps them thrive. Pests are rarely a major issue with pineapples, which is another reason I love them for terrace growing. Occasionally, you might spot mealybugs or scale insects hiding in the leaf joints. I handle these with a simple solution of water and a few drops of dish soap, applied with a cotton swab directly to the pests. The thick, waxy leaves are naturally resistant to most problems, making pineapples one of the lowest maintenance fruiting plants you can grow. Cold sensitivity is something to monitor if you experience winter temperatures below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Pineapples can tolerate brief cool spells, but prolonged exposure to cold will slow growth dramatically or damage the plant. If you're in a climate with cold winters, growing in containers becomes your superpower. Just move the plant to a protected area or indoors during the coldest months. When your pineapple starts changing color and smelling sweet, it's nearly time. The fruit should be mostly yellow with just a hint of green, and it should give slightly when pressed. The sweet aroma at the base is your best indicator of perfect ripeness. Harvest by cutting the fruit from the plant with a sharp knife, leaving a bit of stem attached. Here's the beautiful part. Your plant isn't finished. After harvesting, it will produce side shoots called pups or suckers from the base. These can be separated once they're about 6 inches tall and planted to start new pineapple plants. Each original plant typically produces 2 to 5 pups, meaning your one grocery store pineapple crown can turn into an entire terrace full of pineapple plants within a few years. I hope this guide has shown you that growing pineapples on your terrace isn't some impossible dream. It's an absolutely achievable reality that any gardener can accomplish. The combination of low maintenance, high reward, and genuine tropical flair makes pineapples one of my favorite terrace crops. Whether you're a beginner looking for an exciting project or an experienced gardener wanting to try something new, I encourage you to give this a shot. If this article has inspired you to start your own terrace pineapple adventure, I'd love to hear about it. Drop your questions and experiences in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Roothaven Grounds for more practical gardening wisdom that actually works. Share this article with your fellow gardening friends who might be interested in bringing a taste of the tropics to their own space. Happy growing, and here's to your future harvest.